Hi, Sue and David, talking relationships again. We're going to be talking a little bit more, still in couples, but more the parenting side of things. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll address the caterpillar in the room first. The Mo is obviously not a great look for me, not one that I would choose, but I'm growing it for Movember to raise funds for men's health. A good cause, and I hope there are lots of people out there doing it. And if you're not growing a Mo or doing some walking or the other things that help with the fundraising, that you're sponsoring somebody else to help with the various kinds of cancers that men get, and also with depression and mental illness. So anyway, that's the ads. So in terms of parenting, we just are thinking about parenting as a couple. So what are the ways in which being a couple are important in parenting and vice versa? How do they interact? So I guess one of the things that we were thinking about was just being on the same side, so that the kids can't play you off against each other and ask one for permission and then go around the back to the other and so on.
Yeah, I think that was in my relationship when I was like growing up as a kid. You know, Mum was more authoritarian, Dad was perhaps a little bit more laissez-faire. And so if Mum said no, I'd go to Dad. He said yes, and I was a happy camper because I got what I wanted. And I think that is that if your kids, being kids, usually little selfish creatures, they will play one off the other to get what they want, and having you on the same page, going in the same direction, is a vital component of you being in a relationship as a parent.
Because I mean, it's better both for the kids in that they come to understand that you're together as a couple, and they tend not to also get in the habit of trying to get around other people and laws and such in their lives. But also it's reassuring, the fact that they know that they're going to get an answer and it will be a clear answer and they'll get the same answer from everybody, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also it's important in the relationship because you're not seen to be undermining your partner.
Yeah, no, which is good. One of the things that we did as a parent, I don't know whether you've heard or not, child-centered parenting or parent-centered parenting. What this sort of means is that David and I were the centre of our family. Our relationship was important. In fact, even as kids, young as 8 years old, we actually said to our kids, listen, we only have you for like 20 years max. You know, sometimes it's a bit longer if the kids come back. But I have your dad for the next 50. He's important. And I think that even that symbolic stuff, that the symbolic where Dave and I will go to the movies and it will be us sitting together and the kids either side of us. Or we walked hand in hand down the street and David and I were, sit together and the girls were beside us. And I think that gave the girls that sense of confidence that Mum and Dad were going to stay together, because they could sort of see us holding hands. They could see that we were, sort of not fighting or anything like this. And I think that allowed them to be kids and not have to kind of worry about their parents' relationship.
So I guess, the couple being the centre, because it's the family that will be together for a long time, and it just gives the kids the security. But I guess, and I think that's really important, but not every family does stay together. So maybe talk a little bit about parenting when you are separated or divorced. So separated families where, stereotypically Dad gets the kids on the weekend and takes them to McDonald's or whatever that happens to be. But, obviously families are much more complicated than that. I guess, again, one parent can play off against the other, particularly if the divorce was a bit acrimonious. They can be quite nasty, talking down your former partner to the kids, which again is not really fair to them. That's still their parent. Or giving the kids everything.
Yeah, and I sort of think so that, sometimes we have the the idea that because we only get them for such a short time, maybe the weekend or things like that, that you try and give them everything, that you give them what they want, that you accept behaviour.
Let them get away with everything.
Accept behaviour where you wouldn't normally do it just because, they've had it tough and they're on their own and things like this. But you still need to be their parent. You still need to be their guide into teaching them how to, sort of be good kids, good adults as they grow. They need you to be the parent.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things we've talked about is about parenting in general, is that they don't need you to be their buddies. They've got buddies at school or whatever else. They need you to be their parent, and your goal needs to be, here is start as you begin, as you wish to finish, as Sue tends to say. What do you want these people to be like when they're adults? How should they be considerate? Should they be caring people? Should they be responsible, and so on? Because that's the goal that you're heading towards.
And I sort of think that I have, I don't know kind of whether I've said before, but I have almost sort of 3 criteria. And the first one is do no harm to yourself, or do no harm to others, and do no harm to property. So if you've got those 3 things in terms of discipline area, then the rest is kind of doesn't really matter type of thing, that they can be loud and sort of noisy, inappropriate places, but if they're hurting other people or harming other people by being too noisy in a restaurant or in the shopping centres or something like this, then that's being considerate of.
Well, exactly, and the argument to say to the kids is, this is not considerate, because then you're developing that value in them of being kind and considerate and thinking about others around them. I guess so. We talked about families that are separated. What about blended families? So where you're the new person in a family with kids who are at whatever age.
So that's a complicated sort of thing. But again, you're in this new relationship. So your parenting style for their children and your own that either come here or a part of it, again, has to be the same. You have to be the same, on the same page. It's there is that tendency to
well to either try and kind of earn favour, or to come in and be the disciplinarian and boss it around or whatever. So it's something that the new couple need to negotiate between themselves so that they're on the same page.
And again, having that sort of vision of what you want this this blended family to be, and then grow towards that in terms of how you discipline or how you behave with your kids and how you relationally are with your children.
Well, I think one of the ways that we certainly did this when we were a new couple before we even had children was to kind of talk about hypotheticals. What would you do if? And sort of think that through and talk that through a little bit before you arrive at the situation. So, if you do have a new partner some distance down the road and they already have kids, that's probably even more important in a way.
And doing hypotheticals is a good way to sort of talk, to get on the same page, to really parent with intention instead of reaction. So a lot of times we can parent in reaction mode, but having an intention, knowing where you want to go, knowing what you want your kids to be as they're adults, and then start off now helping them to grow and develop into that sort of amazing human being that they can be, and to reach their full potential as a contributing member of society. So I think.
So I think we can talk more at another stage about parenting in general, and Susie's developing a course about parenting and some of these principles in more detail. But we wanted to talk particularly today about being a couple who are together and who have kids in whatever combinations happen. And by the way, we should acknowledge too, this week the marriage equality postal vote came in overwhelmingly in favour of marriage equality. We're still waiting to see how the politicians will implement that. But we'll see even more loving and fantastic families in Australia, which is a great thing. And there'll be kids, and they'll be working through these issues as well. So we wanted to acknowledge that as well as a thing, and think about how you raise great kids and continue adoring your partner.
And loving your partner. Awesome.
See ya.
Bye for now.